Welcome back to this episode of the Shooting Bricks podcast. And guys, it's been one hell of a long time. Some say it's been a minute, but it feels like more than an hour at this point, maybe even a day. But yeah, we're back. You you love us, you miss us, but overall, G, how are you doing? It's been a really long time since we did this.
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm glad to be back here, and the Lakers have a head coach, so all is well.
We'll definitely get into that a little bit later on in the show, but first, as always, I'm Jerry Castillo, and I'm joined by
Jarrell Sells.
and you know we talked about the Lakers getting a head coach, and I think for all of the things that have been said, especially from us, about how the Lakers are coming into the 2023-24 season, I think the best general kind of like thought or the best general word that comes with the Lakers is disappointment. Wouldn't you agree?
I
As much
guess
as that
so.
hurts to say.
I guess so. Definitely disappointment, but I'm feeling really optimistic and just given the improvement from last season to this season. As far as record wise, that's a good thing to point, but definitely disappointment, and it's all to blame on that ham sandwich of a guy, Darvin Ham. But yeah.
Yeah, it's wild because initially, like heading into, like I said, the 2023-24 season, you had the Lakers as one of the deeper teams in the Western Conference. Austin Reeves' rise. Do we see more consistency from D'Angelo Russell? Who's the fifth starter? Does Christian Wood fit? Well, and are they overall just legit? So since we're on the topic of the Lakers, and since you're rocking the jersey, looking back at it, what are you thinking?
I don't think the wood fit perfectly with the Lakers.
You know,
But I do feel like D'Lo had some consistency when he was given the opportunity. It was a lot of ups and downs. Like I said, Ham Sandwich was, I don't know, bro was just happy to be there, as you can tell, with hands in his pocket. But this is not going to be an episode just dogging Darvin Ham. I do feel like D'Lo was the third consistent star, like I said, when he got his opportunity. But unfortunately, playoff D'Lo is non-existent, and we didn't get much of that from that regular season to the playoffs. I feel like Austin Reeves did get a chance to rise just a little bit. I don't know if we had high expectations for him to be like an 18 to 20 point scorer, but I think he had his moments, had some FIBA play last summer. So kind of just adjusting throughout the year with having constant basketball. But yeah, given the Lakers' record this season compared to last season, I believe they would have been the fifth or sixth seed with this record. So that is improvement. Um, Still a lot of questions to be answered this offseason, though, given with what we got. Is D'Lo returning? Are we going to make a trade? Are we going to get a guard that can actually defend? So there's still a lot of questions up in the air.
yeah, and you bring up Austin Reeves, like whenever we see players go on FIBA or like go to the Olympics and stuff like that, you see that marked jump from like year to year. And I feel like with Austin Reeves, I think Laker fans did see that jump. Like you said, 18 points was not there, but he, in other aspects of the game, like defending and just, I don't know if this is quantifiable in any way, but just the clutch gene that he had developed a bit more, I feel like. And, it's, it's interesting you noted the Western Conference last year compared to this year because yeah, you're right. The Kings got the third seed with 49 wins, and this year, like I think every seed up until the 11th, which was the Houston Rockets, had more than 40 wins. That's how deep the West was this year. It's insane. But you know
Definitely. It's
what?
crazy, man. It's wild out here.
Yeah, but trust me, I understand how wild it is because like, you know, I guess my biggest storyline was yours was the Lakers, but for me it was the Golden State Warriors. They made that big splash trade to get Chris Paul. Didn't work out because 10th seed with 46 wins and lost to the Sacramento Kings. Shout out to the Kings, by the way. It's I think it was the same show that we're referring to that we said if the Kings get anything less than 50 wins, it's a disappointment.
Mhm.
And shout out to them for making it to the playing game, but then getting smashed. Like after they beat the Warriors, that was their NBA championship. No, not dissing Kings fans. Like, sorry if you're out there, but it's the Warriors. I'm not even going to get into that. We could get into a whole podcast about the history, but yeah, it's just the Warriors and the CP3 thing. Like, it worked when it did. We started out 6-2, and then won 40 games and 30 lost 34 after that. But you know what can you say? The corpse of Chris Paul did what he could off the bench.
The corpse is crazy.
Dude, I mean, I had him picked, I think, as the sixth man of the year. You had Emmanuel quickly, and
Yeah.
like it just did not go that way. Now the Warriors are looking at what happens next because Klay Thompson's probably going to be he is a free agent, but he's looking at different avenues, different teams to go to. Chris Paul, they're potentially looking to trade him for someone else, or because that's a hefty, I think, what, 40 plus million contract.
30.
Uh, yeah,
Non-guaranteed, right?
I think so after a certain date.
Mm.
But like they have that big chunk, and he's 39. Like Chris Paul is great. I don't know about that. The Warriors, very disappointing season, wasted another year of Steph's prime. But where did they go
So
from here?
what was the purpose? I know Draymond knocked out Jordan Poole, but what was the purpose of trading CP3? I mean, trading Jordan Poole for CP3. Like, what was the
CP3?
purpose as a Warriors fan?
As a Warriors fan, what we were told was, okay, just a fan, from what we were told, was to cut down on turnovers, to have that just generally that more veteran leadership, because we saw in 2022 that if we surround the core three with veteran players at every position, it could lead to a championship, right?
Mm.
The thing is, the drop off from Jordan Poole, turnovers notwithstanding, the drop off from Jordan Poole to Chris Paul was so great. And the fact that nobody foresaw Klay hitting the ground so hard after after his injuries, he was flying high, but he came down to the ground so hard that CP3 and Klay Thompson, that pairing just didn't mesh well. And just in general, it didn't. It was a weird fit all year, and I was expecting CP3 to bring some sort of like veteran leadership, and which he did. It just didn't work out as anyone planned, and it was just a failed trade. And the chemistry between Draymond and Jordan Poole was just destroyed. So at that point, it's just a salary dump. Which, I mean, I know we're going to talk more about like different teams and stuff, but I just want to kind of like delve into very, very briefly. When Draymond was suspended multiple times last season, he was all like, you know what? I was thinking about retiring. I was thinking about doing this. I was thinking about doing that. I was crying to Steve Kerr. I was crying to Adam Silver. Like, bro, we're just asking you not to hit people at the workplace. It's not that hard. If I hit someone at the workplace, I get fired.
Yeah.
So, dude, just stop. This isn't MMA. This isn't WWE. This is the NBA. Relax. It's fine.
I think he'd have a great career in WWE. I think
you think so?
Ultimate villain. Put him on he's already doing the broadcasting thing, so he's already gonna have that mic skills, cut a promo, and I mean he has a great sucker punch. I just have to admit.
Yeah. I mean, 100% true. 100% true. Is he gonna be like the Dennis Rodman from like WCW way back in the day?
He's gonna have to be.
Christ, dude, what a guy. He is just a guy, like totally. But depression aside, we talk about the Warriors. Yeah, we talk about the Warriors. We talk about the Lakers. But overall, how do we feel about the Western Conference this season? I know we both had the Lakers being the top team. You said it was your bias, which makes sense. All things
had
considered.
The Lakers being the top team?
Yeah, like originally I said
he's a Warriors fan, y'all.
Yeah. I
Wow.
and this is what I said at the time. With all the pieces they shockingly added last offseason, it's hard to see them not sitting atop the West. And
Wow.
I was wrong. I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. We got the Thunder and the upstart Thunder and the Denver Nuggets sitting atop with 57 and 25 records both. But yeah, just overall thoughts on the Western Conference.
It's a juggernaut, man. I mean, who even the best team didn't even make it out of the Western Conference. The
Yeah.
Nuggets didn't make it, the Thunder didn't make it, and arguably the Timberwolves didn't make it. The Mavericks made it, and they,
Yeah.
are sitting with eggs on their face. So I mean, it's a little disappointing that the Western Conference didn't take home the championship, and we have to sit here and bask in this. I'm not even going to say their name on this podcast, but that green team over there having to win whatever. So it's a juggernaut. Like I said, like the Lakers were last year would have been the fifth seed with this record. So it's just really tough out here, and they're only getting better with all the young teams. I don't know if the Spurs are going to stay down for too long. And the Rockets are trying to make moves, so it's really scary in Wild Wild West right now. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
and there's also thoughts of potentially the Rockets, who finished again with the 11th seed, 41 and 41. There were rumors that they were planning on adding Marcus Smart. And
Mm.
if that happens, like that, you have legitimate
Dylan Brooks,
11 team.
smart. Sorry, go ahead.
There's legitimately 11 teams in the West vying for playoff spots. That's how deep the West is. Like that's wild. Like for me
Definitely.
personally, I was honestly shocked by how well, the Thunder did, specifically citing their age because they're so young. And then they shipped off Josh Gideon, that's a thing. But like the way that they were able to coalesce under Mark Daignault as their coach, this is just the beginning. And now they picked up Alex Caruso too. Like I know he wasn't part of their squad last season, but 57 and 25 last season with Alex Caruso and whoever else they pick up because they've got 5 million picks. Like they can legitimately crack 62 wins next year. Like I'm not even kidding. Like it's
Sheesh, man.
the West is a bloodbath every year, and it makes sense why I think since 2000, like the West has won. It's been 24 years since the year 2000, right? And I think the West has won like 18 or 19 of those championships. It's
It has to be.
dominated by, yeah, dominated by the Lakers, Warriors, and Spurs. So that's, yeah,
Because
it's
like who won? The Pistons, the Heat, the Cavaliers, the Raptors, and the
Celtics.
Celtics. That's it. That's the only
Yeah,
teams I can think of.
that's just the West Coast is the best coast, and Western Conference is the best conference, and you can see why. The
Absolutely.
influx of talent is just amazing. And we're talking about the Western Conference, and just your thoughts on your most surprising team in the West, because last season, it was for me, I initially picked the Suns, and it was one of those situations where I was right because I picked the Suns in a negative sense because they would
Mm,
have all these issues and all these like how would Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant kind of like fit in together.
mhm.
And it was now up to Frank Vogel to try and deal with that situation. And that didn't work out because right after the playoff series, KD was like, "Yeah, I can't be just standing in the corner, this thing, that thing. I felt like I was lost, all these different things." Conveniently, right after they lost, I'm just saying, and now they got to deal with Mike Budenholzer, who won a championship, but um, I don't feel right saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It feels like he lucked into that championship.
Mm.
Like, no offense to Giannis, he is a monster, but it feels like he kind of that was his year to be lucky, and he was very lucky. And now the Suns kind of have to deal with it. But yeah, who is who's your most surprising team in the Western Conference last season?
It'll have to be the Timberwolves, man.
Really? Okay.
The Timberwolves. I know that there's been debates, maybe in my group chats, about just who's going to be the face of the league, and you got to sprinkle in Anthony Edwards in there. And given that the Timberwolves are getting away from the model that the Warriors presented, which is small ball, they're not doing that. They're a big team. You got Rudy Gobert, who shouldn't have been the defensive player of the year. Anthony Davis should have won defensive
Yeah.
player of the year. I'm just gonna say that right now. But
Yeah.
7-1, got Cat 6'11", 7 foot. Then you have Jaden McDaniels at 6'9" at the 3. You got Anthony Edwards 6'5". Anyways, there's a lot of length. Great defensive team throughout the year. And surprisingly, I thought they had a chance to make it to the finals. Unfortunately, they couldn't handle Kyrie and Luka still being a little young and their star player, Anthony Edwards. But they were really surprising. They were the 3rd seed, if I'm not mistaken, this year. So I think they're going to make a huge jump next year, depending on what moves they make. But yeah, they were surprising for me in a good way. I wanted them to face against the Celtics. I think it would have been a better matchup with the Timberwolves against the Celtics than the Mavericks.
Yeah. What could have been, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you talk about the Timberwolves. I legitimately feel like the Mavericks were the most kind of surprising team for me because I think it was. Let's look back at the notes here. Both of us had the Mavericks being a play-in team, and it just goes to show like how little faith we had in the Mavericks and the Kyrie and Luka pairing working out.
They did make some moves. They did make some moves. That
Oh yeah,
trade deadline to get what's his name? PJ Tucker. PJ Washington. Shout out to Brittany Renner. Uh we didn't think what's his name, their rookie, was gonna be that good.
Derek
And then
Lively.
Daniel Gafford. So those moves really changed their trajectory.
Yeah, no, 100%. And credit to Jason Kidd for coaching them in the regular season to get to the and a little bit of the playoffs to get them to the NBA Finals. But I'm not giving Jason Kidd credit for getting smashed against the Boston Celtics. Like 4-1, dude. I was expecting it to be 4-2 Dallas Mavericks because I was hoping that Jason Kidd's kind of like playoff mentality in his coaching, having been there before, would have played a part. It did not.
Man, well, maybe this is their chance. Maybe they needed to taste this defeat, and now maybe they'll be back. But hopefully, not in the near future, because I need the Lakers to get another chip.
Yeah, and we will get to that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the Eastern Conference, the other side of the NBA, where it's just kind of like there because they. I mean, is it fair to say that the Eastern Conference just kind of like fell over for the Boston Celtics? Because legitimately, I don't feel like they had too much competition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a cakewalk. Cakewalk from
Yeah,
that green team.
the green team, and it sucks, but looking back at it now, we kind of called it because, well, I did. I said it was either the Bucks or the Celtics, but I was leaning more toward the Bucks because I trusted Giannis, and that didn't work out. So I'm not proud of the fact that I somewhat called the Celtics making it all the way through the Eastern Conference, through the carcass of the Eastern Conference, and just like I said, they smashed the Dallas Mavericks. But yeah, what do you think about your looking back at it now? Because you said the Bucks, but what do you think about that? What about that pick? I should say.
I mean, I guess Drew Holiday is just the key to success. Like, they got an upgrade in offensive talent, but it just didn't work out. And I don't know if it's just a matter of them having to fire their coach halfway through the season or what. I don't know what's going on with the Bucks front office. Maybe it's because Giannis Antetokounmpo is still on the squad. But the surprising team, because it wasn't the Bucks, for me has to be the New York Knicks. So I'm going to shift it because the Bucks was just very disappointed this year. But the New York Knicks really stepped up, and I think that they just have a great surrounding cast of role players. So much so that it got them to the conference finals, right? It was Eastern Conference Finals, but it just wasn't enough because Tom Thibodeau keeps running his players to the ground. But just to think that they had an all-star, all-NBA talent in Julius Randle, who wasn't playing, and they were still up to that caliber. So that was really shocking, really surprising in a positive light with the Knicks. And then, of course, the negativity in the Bucks for not being able to even – what did they get taken out in the first round?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah. They who were they playing the Pacers?
I guess it's not name time. Yeah, they were. Jeez
Yeah,
Louise, man.
like
Hey,
Giannis had that weird thing where he just like he
he
inbounded the ball and then he just fell down.
he was out for majority of that series, right?
Yeah, and then Dame was too.
Okay, so that makes sense. That's the disappointment right there. Their best players didn't even play.
Yeah, Chris Middleton literally, I think, if I remember correctly, willed them to a win with like one bad knee. Like that dude did everything he could.
They're gonna have to make some changes, man. I don't know what's going on in this time, this era of not being able to keep teams. Like more recently, every team that's won championships haven't been able to like keep their team together. Coaching staff, players, just keep that level of competition. So that's interesting because the Bucks, they had a formula, and now look at them. I think Chris Middleton is probably, they got to start thinking about stuff with him. I know that Brook Lopez is on block. They got to get rid of him to have more switchy defenders. So it's just interesting to see how these squads win championships and what happens. And now that green team has a spotlight because they have a lot of cap penalties that's coming their way with the amount of money they got on their salary.
Yeah, and actually, you mentioned why teams aren't able to maintain their teams because of the cap situation, the CBA, because Grant Williams and CJ McCollum headlined or spearheaded, I should say, a new radical change in how the CBA works, and that if teams like if they miss out on the first threshold, they have to pay more, which is like it is what it is. If they miss the second threshold, which is what the Warriors were like, they're right there on that. The Warriors and the Clippers were right there on that second threshold. They would start to lose picks, and so in order to not hit that second threshold, they have to like dump out all these players, which sucks because if you're like Golden State, who just happens to draft, I wouldn't say they draft well. I mean, shout out James Wiseman, but they do. He's my guy. He's my guy. Don't get me wrong. But the Warriors kind of they zigged when they should have zagged. You know, just throwing that out there. Love the Warriors and love James Wiseman. Hope for the best, but not the best fit. But if going back to what I was saying, if let's say the Lakers, you know, completely kill it this draft and the next draft and the next draft, right? 3 drafts in a row, they kill it. And now all these players have like rookie max extensions because let's say they're, you know, all stars, all NBA, whatever. They can't keep them because of this new CBA. And now, if they want to keep these 3 stars, they have to make a decision. Think of it's similar to the whole
Thunder.
KD Westbrook. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they chose Ibaka over Harden, and you know, no disrespect to Ibaka, but Harden was. We have 2020 vision, right? 2020 foresight, whatever the case is. So it's like this is what's happening now, and it was the Warrior situation, you know, having 3 homegrown talent plus KD that kind of like shifted the balance, and now everyone's like, okay, we can't let that happen again. So
Right.
there's the long answer to your short question, but
Definitely.
it's disappointing. I think with the formula that the Celtics have, I think they're fine with like losing draft picks. Just generally speaking, because if they feel like they can win 60 plus games for the next 3 seasons, that's what a championship or 2. I think they'll take it.
It's a lot more restrictions too with the new CBA with trading. So if you're over that threshold, don't know specifically which threshold it is. If you're trying to make a trade, it has to be exact matching of contract. There's other things with like buying out somebody's contract or on the buyout market. Like if it's above your taxpayer mid-level exception, like you can't sign those players. So it's a lot more restrictions to your roster building when it comes to this new CBA that supposed to make team cycles roll. But I mean, they have 4 max guys. That's something's got to give. And I'm pretty sure Horford is getting paid double digits, and then Peyton, whatever his name is,
Pritchard.
Pritchard. There you go. He got an extension too, which is a good amount. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver for the long term, because of that. And we shall see. They're probably going to have to draft and have a rookie make an impact. I think a lot of teams are now looking for that next Derek Lively, somebody that you can have on a 4-year deal that's cost efficient, that can make an impact. So that's why I think it's very important for the Lakers to draft somebody at that 17th pick with all these bigs in the draft to see if they can make that impact. Because realistically speaking, I have to make it about the Lakers again. Realistically speaking, we're probably not going to be able to afford a center in the free agent market, given our limitations, similar to like the Warriors, where we're slowly approaching that apron. So that's why it's very important for us to hit on the margins with D'Lo, if he resigns, be able to sign and trade, things of that nature. But it's very important to have a good scouting department so that you can have some impactful players and actually utilize them, unlike Darvin Ham with Max Christie.
Yeah, or Jalen Hood-Schifino.
We're not gonna talk about JHS right now.
All right. I just had to bring him up because drafting had to. I mean, it was him.
That still hurts.
It was him, Jaime Jaquez, and then Brandon Podziemski, or was it the?
Yep, and Cam Whitmore, all of them. All of them. But it's like any one of those guys. No offense. Prove me wrong, JHS. Yeah. Prove me wrong. I'm saying it now. You have a most improved season next year. I might cop the jersey, bro. I might cop the jersey. Y'all heard it here now. Y'all heard it here first.
All right, book it. June 24th. I mean, I'm not holding you to it. I don't.
Please,
but we'll see what happens. Yeah. Shout out Fanatics for like $180 shirt. Good thing about their qualities, you can just take out the letters. Anyways,
there goes that sponsorship.
I've been watching MLB. I've been watching a couple things, but anyways, going back to the NBA real quick. Going back to the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks were my most surprising pick. I know we talked about like cap situations and MLEs and all that stuff, but yeah, it was just super surprising to me to see a team that I felt like had stability, with Giannis being the centerpiece, with Dame being, Dame time, and, firing Adrian Griffin halfway through the season, hiring Doc Rivers to replace him. And then right after the season, you just see Doc Rivers saying like, oh, like Dame was in the worst shape of his career, all these different rumors coming out from Doc. And it's like, dude, why are you even saying that? Like, what's the point? You were earlier, I think in the playoffs or before the season ended, you were blaming the, I don't know if it was the drivers or like the people that, shuttled the players to and from places, or if it's like the catering, but he was just throwing everyone under the bus. It's like, dude, no, like, stop.
Yeah, as a veteran head coach, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know he's one of the winningest coaches in the league, but I feel like that 2008 championship was
he looked into it.
You can say that again. Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, it's hard not to win a championship if you have 3 Hall of Famers on your team. Like, legitimately speaking. 4.
We're not counting Rondo. Rondo don't get the Hall of Fame. Big.
Well, that's a discussion for another day. That's a discussion for another day.
But I feel it. Definitely.
Yeah. It's like if Steve Kerr didn't win a championship with the Warriors at all. Like, that's a travesty in and of itself. Yeah. But he won 4, so it's fine. And Steph Curry. What?
I just realized, yeah. Steph got 4. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he won back-to-back MVPs. Like, that's still wild to me. Like, it's him winning back-to-back MVPs. It's you'll never see a run that dominant again. Speaking from the Warriors, and legitimately, I was expecting Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets to do so, but they met their match in the Timberwolves. But before they got swept, Nikola Jokic won his 3rd MVP, or not swept, but before they got dusted out of the playoffs, he won his 3rd MVP, and so Were you surprised? Because if memory serves, both of us had Jason Tatum as the MVP this year, and that didn't happen, which is probably good news to you. We don't get to see any corny pictures or anything like that. But
You
but
know what sucks? Like he didn't get
what was
an
that?
MVP anywhere. Not in season, not the All didn't get All-Star game MVP, not the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and he didn't get the Finals MVP. Like bro didn't get MVP anywhere. That's crazy. He did get
I
MVP
mean,
with LMA though. Like
uh,
he pulled LMA.
he's
So
winning
I
off
mean
the court. He's winning off the court.
I ain't mad at you, brother. I ain't mad at you.
I mean, it's hard to be mad when you get to win off the court like he does. But yeah, were you shocked at all by Nikola Jokic winning his third MVP? He just for a little bit of context while you think about that, he's the ninth player in NBA history to win three or more MVP awards, joining Kareem with six, MJ with five, Bill Russell with five, Wilt with four, LeBron with four, Larry Bird with three, Magic Johnson with three, and Moses Malone with three. So
I mean, he's up there on like every statistical category with like the greatest bigs of all time. So is it shocking? Am I surprised? No. Did I think Shea had a chance? Yes. But no, I'm not shocked at all. I mean, still one of the top seeds in the West, still a triple double machine. The Nuggets go as far as Jokic leads them too. So yeah, it wasn't surprising at all. But it'd be surprising if he gets his four.
yeah, yeah, fair. I think similar to you, like it wasn't surprising at all. Like it's clear Jokic is the best player in the world, regardless of how his teammates play. He will lead them to 52 wins, if that, maybe even more. He is he's redefining what it is to be a big man in this league. Because before, in the 90s, it was big lumbering, block shots, rebound, all that stuff. In the
Mm-hmm.
2000s, more of the same, but you saw them kind of stretching out a little bit more. And then now, 2010s up until now, you see big men shooting that can stretch the floor to the three, pass, defend. And yeah, there's some knocks about Jokic's, I guess, his defensive prowess, but it's offset by what he does on the offensive end so much that you can look the other way with that. And he's still the best player. If I had one player to make the game winning play, not make the game winning shot, but just in general make the game winning play,
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be controversial, but I would give it to Jokic. He knows what to do with the ball. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I fell victim to it as a fan, seeing him make this crazy ass shot. Like, come on,
20,
bro. Like
23.9 seconds of good defense.
and
That's wild.
just throw it over your head. Like, come on, man. So I mean, I understand. It's understandable, especially in a great system. Like he's either gonna
Yeah.
get his shot up and it's so unconventional, get his shot up or find somebody with a crazy dime. So it's understandable.
Yeah, and like you said, he's one of the best bigs of all time, probably, right?
He's definitely in that conversation. I don't know. We get to number wise, but he's definitely up there.
Yeah, especially for centers specifically, because like if we're gonna go by a top 10, what is it? Shaq, Wilt, Kareem, and David Robinson, and then him, or Hakeem too. It's
And yeah, we missing anybody? Moses Malone. He put Jokic over Moses.
probably I see Moses as more of a 4 than a 5 because yeah, that's just me though. But
yeah,
tough. And speaking of things that were tough, the NBA Finals was tough to watch. We both had.
turn this camera off. I was joking. Go ahead.
I mean, dude, I'd be right there with you. We both had it being the Lakers in the NBA Finals. I had the Bucks over the Warriors or the Lakers, trying to find a cop out there in 6 games, and you had the Lakers over the Celtics in a 7-game series. Neither of those things
Cinema.
happened. It was It was the Celtics in 5 beats Dallas. Not very close at all. I mean, aside from Game 4, where it was like Dallas beat down, yeah, Boston. God, I'm getting depressed just talking about this. Um,
Yeah,
it's
let's make
it
this one
was
a quick hitter.
yeah, but Jalen Brown wins Finals MVP, yeah, over Jason Tatum, which makes sense considering Jason Tatum shot sub 40% for most of the series, and generally speaking, most of his NBA Finals appearances, he shot sub 40%. So yeah, thoughts on the 2024 NBA Finals? Did you even watch it?
No,
All right.
I think I watched maybe like a quarter. That's it. I've been in my WNBA bag. I've been in my WWE bag. I've been watching the Sparks, the Aces. That's what I've been watching. I paid too much attention to the NBA Finals. So we already knew what was happening after the first game or two. Dallas wasn't ready, and obviously the Celtics were. So, I said it. Fudge! I said their name on this podcast. Go away. Go. You share what you need to share on this, Jared. Like, this is my blood is boiling that I said that while wearing this Lakers jersey. You're just not seeing it. Lord Jesus.
And his blood is not boiling because it's like 1,000 degrees outside.
Nah.
It's the rivalry runs deep. It could probably go deeper, I promise. But it's one of those situations where, okay, I know you're seething. You're like, oh, but question though, it's a more introspective question, right? In terms of these NBA finals, did you said you maybe watched a quarter because everything else is going on, but was it because of your fandom or because, and you briefly mentioned it, was it because of the fact that it just it didn't captivate you as well as, let's say, you know, the Nuggets or the Heat? Did you watch the Nuggets or the Heat? And the Heat, I should say.
It didn't captivate me. It didn't captivate me. I don't think I watched much of the Nuggets or the Heat as well. Like, if the game was on, it was on. I did enjoy watching the Knicks play. But and the Timberwolves. Once the Timberwolves got out, I was like, all right, I ain't really messing with this. And it's the fact that I'm really enjoying the WNBA. So there was times where it was like there was a game on at the same time. I don't know if it was, but I found myself watching more WNBA games during the NBA finals. So it just didn't captivate me. The NBA finals didn't captivate me at all. I didn't I'm a Lakers fan. Like, why would I want to see the success of this green team? Like, it's all good. I have enough of seeing all of those green fans on X and Twitter talking all their talk. That's more than enough for me. I don't want to visually see it.
I mean, I guess the one thing you can say, yeah, they won their 18th championship, most in the league, but this is their second championship since the turn of the millennium. So that's something you can say, like, hey, the Lakers have 2000, 2001, 2002, 2009, 2010, 2020. What is that, 6? Like, I'm not a Lakers fan by any stretch, but the fact that 6 championships, and I think it's the Lakers with 6, and then the Spurs with 5, and then the Warriors with 4. I think that's just how the hierarchy is, and from 2000 to 2024. And again, goes back to what we are saying, right? Western Conference is the best conference, so
Definitely.
it's
The rest of those teams are West Coast. Crazy.
yeah, it's and then the Heat also with 3 during that period. Pretty sure, unless I'm having a fever dream. The Heat?
Two.
Since
I think
since
it's 2.
2000 to
Oh yes, the Wayne Wade, Shaquille.
yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, that's cool. The Celtics have all of these rings, but since since the internet became a thing, I guess, like they've only had 2. So, and 2008 again seems like they looked into it. I mean,
Yeah, we just dogging
like,
them.
dude, literally, like I looked at Twitter X, and a lot of I was seeing like charts and stuff of where teams the the geographic areas in the United States and which teams that those areas supported.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everything from probably Massachusetts West, it was all Celtics, and then there's just that one little that was the Celtics, which makes sense, right? They had a chance. I hope they did, but shout out to any Celtics fans listening to this. We love you. Please continue supporting. But we don't like your team. We don't like your teams. We can like you, but not like your team. That can happen. But yeah, anything else to add? Putting a full bow on this 2023-24 season. Any last thoughts before moving to quick hitters?
And I don't even know. I don't think this season was as dramatic as the last season, but you know, there's a lot of more moments that popped up. But yeah, it was a solid season, I guess, overall. I'm just excited for this offseason, Olympics play, and seeing with this new CBA how teams are going to get constructed. So I'm just looking forward to the future. Let the past be the past. We're gonna just throw that season away because who won that season is we don't want to, give news to them. So
Yeah, dude. Okay, I was on X and someone said that the Celt. I can say it. It's fine. The Celtics' most recent championship was probably had the least amount of aura because like 24 hours later, nobody really cared anymore because of
right,
everything else.
they was worried about who's gonna be the Lakers' next head coach or
Yeah,
Dan Hurley. There it is, talking to Dan Hurley.
Which flows right into nice segue into the quick hitters, and JJ Redick officially has been named the Lakers' next head coach. Dan Hurley turned down a 6-year, $70 million contract to stay at UConn for a potential three-peat. And according to the statement that the Lakers released, we are thrilled to introduce JJ Redick as the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka said. After a thoughtful and thorough search process, I couldn't be more proud to welcome JJ to the Lakers family. Fierce competitor, extraordinary basketball IQ, and understanding of the modern game that will energize players and excite fans. Okay, sounds like PR speak. Rigorous analysis will immediately unlock new opportunities for our roster, which may or may not include LeBron James, putting that out there, while setting a foundation for player development over the long term. So what was it, 4-year deal that they nabbed him? 4 years, $8 million per year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Advancing the game and staying at the forefront of an ever-evolving league. Beyond his basketball acumen, care for people, genuine empathy, critical for connecting with players today. This is an exciting time for Lakers basketball. On that note, exciting time for Lakers basketball. How excited are you for Lakers basketball?
Look, I'm one of the optimists, man. I'm pretty excited. I believed in Darvin Ham. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I'm gonna believe in JJ Redick. They say he the next Pat Riley. All right, prove it to me. As long as the Lakers can surround him with some veteran coaches and suitable coaches, I think we should be okay. I'm excited to see what we can do. We have the 17th pick. We have a lot of things that's up in the air. I was excited for last season. With all the moves that we made. So I think on a level, if we're going to scale it out of 10, I'm an 8. I like basketball. I love basketball. I love Lakers basketball. So I just hope that they make some sensible moves, reasonable moves. Like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Hopefully we can be on the same level that we were when we won our championship, how we constructed that team together. So hopefully we can, make one that is suitable for a 40-year-old LeBron James so he can come back. Maybe this is what dreams are made of. We're in La La Land. So let's get Bronny to the Lakers. Let's get Zach Edey. Let's get DeJounte Murray. I'm calling it all out right now. Let's make these moves. Every summer, the Lakers make some type of move that has Twitter going crazy. Let's have the Shooting Bricks podcast going crazy. I can't wait.
All right. Well, now good to know you're an optimist. 8 out of 10. For me, I just have to put a damper on things because that's how I am. This is JJ Redick's first head coaching gig professionally. That's obviously one of the big question marks is how he's going to adapt. And there have been reports that he's planning on bringing in Rajon Rondo, which we mentioned briefly before, as one of his assistant coaches, and who knows how he fills out that roster. But I remember a couple days ago when it was pretty certain, it was like 99.9% certain that he was going to be the coach. There were rumors that he had already started filling out his bench with proven commodities. So, I mean, I could see why the optimism is there. The other thing I know this is supposed to be quick, but the other thing I have to mention is we don't know what's happening with LeBron. Rich Paul did say that he let it slip that LeBron is technically a free agent, and he had people on social media were wondering like, oh, does that mean he's opting out or whatever the case is? Well, I guess the Lakers also have to plan for that possibility, right? Because it's not the best news to hear. It's horrible news actually to hear if you're a Lakers fan, but at the same time, you kind of have to be prepared that LeBron might be leaving, and also JJ could be the bridging of the gap between the LeBron era and whatever comes after. Just just had to bring that up. I know you're probably not a fan of me bringing that up, but
no, I mean it's reasonable. You have to understand both sides of it. Just that's definitely something to consider. And at the same time, I'm like, bro is already in LA. Family's already in LA. Who's gonna realistically be able to offer him the money that he wants, because he's not gonna take a pay cut. It's all over social media. His friend, his homie is now coaching the team, right? That's what they want to say, right? And realistically, the Lakers are gonna get what they want, and that's Bronny James. So it's like it's a match made in heaven. I don't foresee LeBron James leaving. He's not going anywhere. You're 40 years old, bro. Where are you gonna go? You're not gonna be able to go play with Curry in the Warriors. Like, you're not going back to the Cavaliers. So I don't 100% agree. I see both sides of it, but just I feel confident that he's going to come back. I'm more weary about what's going to happen with D'Lo. Hopefully he signs so we can do a sign and trade deal. So yeah.
And also you have to figure out who wants D'Lo again.
There's some suitors. The Magic.
You think so?
That's been a rumor. Yeah, the Magic need 3-point shooting and a guard that can do it, and their guards don't provide that. So that's a solid fit right there.
Who or what would the Lakers get back?
I would love to get Jalen Suggs if we can,
Okay.
and Wendell Carter. Those two right there are really would fit with the Lakers. I think Jalen Suggs is a great defender. That's something that we need. You can pair him up with Austin Reeves. So yeah, we got picks to dangle. We do have movable contracts. So if the Magic really want a guard that can shoot 40%, give you 18 points and 6 to 7 assists a game, there you have it. So
you're gonna get Jalen Suggs, which I don't think that'll happen. I think what'll happen is you guys are gonna get Joe Ingles and Wendell Carter and a second round pick in 2049, and you guys are gonna like it. That's how it's going to be.
No way. Wendell Carter, yes, not no old Joe Ingles. No,
dude.
Way. But
he can defend well-ish, and he can shoot the hell out of probably like mid-30s.
Man, I saw a clip of him making a slow layup. He reminds me like a Rec Hooper, the old heads. He made a slow layup and then just like you remember Dirk when at the end of his career how he was running up the court? That's what Joe Ingles was doing. That dude was running like he had something going on with his back. This is a PG show.
But so. he can hit friggin' 40%. Give him the right amount of looks, which
on 2 attempts a game.
Man, give him.
We already got a 40-year-old on the team. No,
dude, you guys need that.
If your hairline is not like right here, you can't be on the squad. Oh Lord Jesus! Yeah, Joe Ingles' hairline back there. That you got call it quits, brother. Right. The big three is calling.
If he's still making like 40% of his shots on like 6 attempts or whatever, averaging like 7 points. Bro, he'll have a spot. Trust.
Who are we? The Detroit Pistons?
Bro.
We the Los Angeles Lakers. What we look like? This say 2012, 2014.
Wait, hang on. You reminded me of the Detroit Pistons. For some reason, I got reminded of Shvi Mikhailuk.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a sharpshooter. Where is he at?
Yeah. That's what I'm checking out right now. Because He is currently, where's he playing at? Where's he playing at? Why? Okay, I misspelled his name. Sorry. Shvi Mikhailuk. Would you look at that? He is with the Celtics.
That's crazy.
That's wild. He won a championship. Shout out to him. But moving on, other things. Kenny Atkinson, excuse me. He got hired by the Cavaliers. Didn't understand why they hired JB Bickers. They fired JB Bickerstaff, right?
Mhm.
Hmm. They hired someone who knows how to get the most out of young talent, which good for him. Kenny Atkinson deserves another shot. Um, Scotty Barnes signed a 5-year max rookie extension worth $270 million. You're shaking your head. It's the largest in team history, and the 22-year-old has one All-Star selection to his name. Why are you shaking your head?
Because everybody just get this money, man. Like, I guess so. When you're the Toronto Raptors, you gotta make sure that you hold on to your talent. But 270 mil for Scotty Barnes,
Up
bro?
to, up to.
Up to for Scotty Barnes? I don't know, man. That's
Okay,
not my cornerstone. No offense. Scotty Barnes is a tremendous hell of a player. Hell of a player. But he's the second, third best player on a championship team. More
that's
to the
fair.
third. That's what I see him as. So that's just, but you gotta do what you gotta do. They already lost Pascal. They couldn't
They
keep
traded him away. Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard. So it's like, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, Kawhi did mention that he, regardless of what happens, he was going to leave anyways. Like there was no, he didn't want to be in Toronto. Like I'm sure Toronto's great, but he really wanted to be in LA. So, speaking of LA, well, we have two pieces of quick hitters regarding the LA area. Brandon Pochemski gets a shoe deal with Rigor, the same brand that gave Austin Reeves his own signature sneaker. The shoe is expected to come out soon, per Nick DePaula. And yeah, I don't think you have any thoughts on a Golden State Warriors sophomore getting a sneaker deal.
I mean, it would have made sense if we drafted him. He was on the Lakers. That would have been cool. But my only question to you is: are you gonna cop the shoe as a Warriors fan and a hooper?
It depends because Rigor is hard to find in the United States because it's a Chinese
Mm,
brand.
mm,
So, and the thing with Chinese brands is not to get into the weeds a little bit too much here, but the way that they build their shoes is different because they have a wider last. So typically, if you have, like, let's say a size 10, you might need to get a size 9.5 to compensate for that larger size. It just depends on the situation. Plus, you can't try them on in store here because they're Chinese brands, and American
mm.
stores, retailers don't carry, Chinese brands. So if they're available, if they're under $100, because different priorities are taking shape in life, as you very well know. Um, I might, yeah, give them a shot. I have to see what they look like first. Um, I've seen I've seen Austin Reeves' sneaker, and they look nice. Don't get me wrong, but availability here is almost non-existent, and I don't want to pay $50 for shipping. Like it's an
That part
eighty-five
too.
dollars shoe or whatever. Yeah, you know, $85 shoe, and then you bring it over here. It's like $50 just to ship it. It's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like it's cheaper than the Sabrina twos, which are coming out very soon. So
Can't wait.
plug to Sabrina, plug to Sabrina. Great shoes, great shoes. Um, The other, oh wow, I did not recognize we have three LA based things, but quick hitters. Overall thoughts on Paul George requesting out of LA? There have been rumors that he's gonna opt into that deal, sign another shorter deal, and then get traded elsewhere, or he's just gonna flat out like deny it and go somewhere else. Thoughts on that quickly?
I mean, does he want to win? Then get out of the Clippers organization. As simple as that.
Where would he go?
Loser. Sorry, I
Wow,
SpongeBob
wow.
reference there. I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out the Magic. Apparently, they got some money over there. The Magic. I know that there's been rumors about the 76ers. So
Hmm.
yeah, if you want to win, bro, you gotta get out of there. Your best player, street clothes. He not gonna show up. No offense to Kawhi, because he's a hell of a player too. But hey, they curse. The Clippers are cursed. So you got to get out of there.
They are getting out of there. They're going to Inglewood, I think, right?
Thank goodness.
the Intuit Dome, which has more bathrooms than any other arena in the NBA.
Because the
Great.
Clippers are yeah. That's
They're
why you got
shooting
the
for the
bathroom.
stars. They're shooting for the
There you
stars.
go. There we go.
There's also rumors that Paul George, you're not gonna like this, that Paul George might end up in Golden State somehow. Trade Kaminga, trade Moody, trade a couple draft picks Clippers way, sign and trade. It's gonna be
He ain't KD.
no, he's not, but he could win a championship with us. We did it with Wiggins, so
Yeah.
who knows?
And Barnes.
Yeah, and Harrison Barnes. Shout out to the Black Falcon, sickest friggin' nickname. Dude.
That's his nickname?
Yeah.
You can't give yourself your own nickname. I'm sorry.
Bro,
I've
no, I mean,
I've never heard anybody call Harrison Barnes a Black Falcon ever in my life.
dude, okay. When
I was today years old.
Dude, when he was detonating on people, like when he was like young Harrison Barnes, not like now Harrison Barnes, like he was like yamming on people. Like that dude could friggin' man. What could have been if he just made a couple more threes in the 2016 NBA Finals? Like the entire Warriors dynasty would have been so much different. But, anyways, now that I'm being nostalgic again, let's bring it back. Let's reel it in. Final piece of quick hitter news here. Derek Hamby replaces Cameron Brink on Team USA's 3v3 team. As we know, Cameron Brink, she tore her left ACL driving. I think it was against the Atlanta Dream, if I remember correctly, or the Connecticut Sun, one of the two. But she was driving, leg plants awkwardly. She just falls, and that's it. Her season's done. Her Olympic dreams are done. And any quick hitters on that? I know that when we saw the LA Sparks down at Long Beach play against the Washington Mystics, you were a little bit critical of how Derek Hamby was playing. It seemed like she was forcing some shots. It seemed like she was putting too much effort into it instead of just letting the game come to her. But overall thoughts on Derek Hamby replacing Cameron Brink?
Yeah, totally wash those critiques away because I was able to watch more and more games and see how amazing Derek Hamby has been playing. And she's been a monster. She's top 5, I think, in rebounds this season and averaging 20 points a game. And she's considered
17.6 now.
17.6. So just about a double machine. She's been doing her thing. So I think this is great. The representation from the LA Sparks in the Olympics is wonderful. As a Sparks fan, I would love to see this because now it gives me more to root for. Of course, I'm a fan of the WNBA, but I have my fandoms with the Sparks and the Aces. So as many players that can represent definitely is something cool. Praying for a quick recovery for Cameron Brink, and hopefully the Sparks can turn it around this season and get a couple more W's in the column. Shout out to Lexi Brown.
Shout out. But
I had to do
it. had to. But no, I mean, right there with you. Like they needed someone that can put the ball in the bucket and do it efficiently, and no one's doing it as well. Oh, obviously Asia Wilson and all of them, but no one's doing it like as well. If you can't have Asia Wilson on your 3v3 team, like Derek Hamby's pretty good backup. Like, not saying that she's worse in any way, but it's like that's a pretty good selection.
100%, one of the best this season.
Yeah, especially after winning what was it, 6th Woman of the Year twice. So she stepped up big this year, and can't wait to see what she does. But with that being said, don't forget to subscribe to the Shooting Bricks podcast and leave a review on your platform of choice. It really helps us out. Lastly, make sure to follow us on @PodcastBricks on Twitter, @ShootingBricksPodcast on Instagram, and @ShootingBricksPodcast on YouTube for all the news and the video of this episode of the Shooting Bricks podcast. We're back. It's been a minute, but any last words you want to say to the good old fans who have stuck with us all this time?
Hey, glad to be back. Hopefully y'all tune in. Let us know what y'all think. All the social media platforms are there, and hopefully we can bring some more episodes for y'all to vibe with. It's great to be back. Shooting these bricks.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll promise it wouldn't be like another 8-month wait for the next one. At least I hope not. But Until next time, we will see you guys in the future.